Hello, welcome to day 3 of 7 pockets in 7 days. So today we're going to make ourselves a beautiful welt pocket. So come on then, let's get cracking.
Okay, so to make the welt pocket, I have copied the markings of the original pattern piece. So the original pattern piece has got three balance marks, or 3 little black circles, and they're each 1 centimetre apart. That gives me 3 horizontal lines for where the welts will be placed on the pocket. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place some pins in where these little marks are, these little hopefully you can see those little holes there. You can see the little black circles there, where black marker, what I've used just to make them stronger so that we can see them. And I'm putting a pin in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer the marks over to the other side so that we can start working from the other side and be able to sew on the interfacing. So if we look at the construction of the welt pocket, there's 4 main pieces with it. We have a stabilizer. So this would, if we imagine this is the wrong side of the fabric, the stabilizer will go on first, and that will be hand stitched on. And all that does is it adds stability and natural movement in the pocket. Next we have the welts. So this is where the welts will be. Once the welts are attached, you're going to want the pocket bag. So the upper part of the pocket bag, the lower part of the pocket bag will be this smaller pattern piece. And then to hold the whole pocket bag together, will be 1 main piece of fabric. And what will happen is, I'm just going to pop everything into place. Everything will be cut in. The pocket bag will be stitched to the welts, sealing it all and allowing for, it's big enough for you to probably to be able to hold like a credit card size within the back pocket. So, right, so we can see the interfacing has been stitched on there, and what I've done is I've stitched it onto the wrong side of the fabric. This is the right side. Show you the wrong side. It's there, all stitched on, so it's going to add some extra support. If you don't have any sewing interfacing, I often use calico. All I do is stitch around the calico to prevent it from fraying, overlock round it. And yeah, I quite often use calico, as long as you use it on the grain, because the idea is that the interfacing, or calico or something, it just needs some kind of support structure underneath, and that's the reason why we do that. So the method that I'm going to show you is the method that was taught to me from a traditional tailor, and I've kept to that method today. Okay, so we're going to need to attach this welt, and what we're going to do to make sure that we attach it nice and securely, we are going to sew it at 0.5 centimetre, 0.5 centimetres from the whichever way side you start, from one side to the other. And what I do is, instead of back stitching, I do what's called a double bearing stitch. So what I'll do is I'll go a couple of stitches forward, and I'll physically turn the fabric round and go a couple of stitches, so that I'm always facing forward with the fabric. And what that does, it prevents the fabric from moving, because sometimes you find when you back stitch the fabric shifts. If we look at our welts, we can see that I've got them now nicely stitched on, and when we fold them back, that is my centre line, and I've stitched on my other welt. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to press these down. I'm also going to press the seams back as well and pin them in place like my top one. Right, so all I've done is I've given it a press, and what we need to do is we need to fold back our welt so that we can see where we stop stitching. And to do that, I fold them on a diagonal, and I put a pin in them, and that just tells me, so I know that was where my last stitch was in relation to where the center mark is. So I'm going to fold the other side as well. And what we're going to do now is we are going to cut the welt, but we're going to stop sewing. I left myself like a centimetre before the end, so this is the end here, and I've gone like a centimetre in. So I'm going to stop sewing to this centimetre, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in a diagonal up to my stitch line. So I'm going to start from the centre, cut to my to my little mark here, and then I'm going to go in a diagonal and I'm going to cut up to the stitch line, but not after the stitch line. So I've got my fabric here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to nip it here. I'm just going to fold it and make a crease here, just so that I can be able to get in to cut it. I've got my shears, and you really want to follow that center line so that you're getting it nice and straight. So that's me cut to my little mark there, and then I'm going to go in with my snips and snip up to where my stitch line ends. I'm going to go in with my shears, cut up to my mark, then I'm going to use my snips that's me just cut up to my previous stitch line there, and remove your pins, and this is where the magic happens. And then all we do is push the welts to the back, and then all we do is push the welts to the back, push the fabric through the center, and you can now see that you've got really nice, clean, crisp welts there. And you can see there we've got really nice clean welts. That's the previous fabric. The fold that we had before, that's the previous fold there. I'm just going to push all the fabric through. So we can see that we're starting to get a nice clean finish. So here's what the front looks like. I've just started to press it all into place. Now on the back, to secure it, I've put some pins in, but I'm going to take the pins out. To secure it, that triangle, I've pushed it to the back, it's just here. And what we need to do is secure it down, and you need to back stitch over that triangle, and that will hold the welts in place. Okay, so to secure it into place, what I've done is my little triangle, I have run a securing stitch, that same bearing stitch that we did. I've done the same thing. It was on setting number 2 for the needle, for the stitch length. So it's on a really small stitch length, so the stitches are small. And I've secured my triangle to the welts, and that means that the pocket looks really neat. So you can see it's there, it's nice and neat. And the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to put the pocket bag on the opposite side. Right, so to finish the pocket, normally what would happen is the top of the pocket, this piece of fabric would be attached, would have an extra piece attached to it, and then it would be secured under the waistband. But for today, because we're going to let it float freely, what I'm going to do is, this is the bottom of the welt. We're just going to sew 1 centimetre seam and iron that flat, and then the top of the pocket bag will be secured all the way around. And we will put some bar tacks in to stop the pocket from moving.